Hi everyone, this is Ida of Creative to Create. Good morning. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. I have not a project share. I wanted to show you, for those ladies that bought the SVG file for the tote bag that I created, I wanted to do an assembly video and I promised that I would, so here it is. If my phone happens to stop in the middle while I'm putting this together, know that there will be a part 2, so look for that, because my phone is funny sometimes and it kind of stops recording and starts all over again. So in case that happens and we're not done putting it together, look for the part 2. Anyway, guys, I wanted to share with you the pieces that you will need. In the file that I created, I did create layering pieces, and I'm going to share with you what they look like. For the front and the back of the tote, you're going to need 2 of these and 2 of the layering pieces that go with it. I have not glued these down yet, but I did glue some of them down just to save time. So you're going to need 2 layering pieces and 2 of the base, whatever your base color happens to be. Mine's black. Then this is the bottom. It's a rectangle, and then here is the layering piece for the bottom. And I actually made this to be exactly the same, and there is a reason for that. So you're going to need 1 of your base color and then the layering piece. For the side pockets, you're going to need the 2 bigger pockets, and these all have, you can't see them, but they do have score lines in them. So you're going to need 2 of these. These are the side pockets for the tote, and then, or the side walls, not pockets, because they're not pockets. And then I created pockets. So you're going to need 2 of the pockets if you choose to add pockets to them, and 2 of the layering pieces for the pockets. I already glued mine down. This one is going to be a bee themed one. There is a pocket in the back, which is this one back here, and for that one you only need 1. So that is, you're going to need the back pocket in your base color and then the layering piece to go over it. So you're only going to need 1 of these, and here's the top flap to that pocket. So you're going to need 1 of the base color and then the layering piece that goes on it there. And I actually only used I think I used 2 12 by 12s. If you can arrange them just right, you can probably get them all done. I did forget 1 pocket and had to put a scrap in to cut the one side pocket, but if you arrange them correctly, I think you can get them all in 2 sheets. Then you're going to need the front pockets. These are the front pockets. This is what they look like. So you're going to need 2 front pockets if you want 2 in the front, and then 2 of the layering pieces. Mine are already glued in place. And then these smaller ones are the closures for your front pockets. So that will go like that. So you're going to need 2, and you're going to need the layering piece. You're also going to have these like oval looking, oblong shapes. And I cut them out in a designer, so you're going to have 2 of the same size and 1 that's a little bit bigger. I did cut it out in the designer paper, and I cut it out in my base because I don't know which one I want to use. They're little. They can fit just about anywhere on your mat. So if you, but more than likely the one you're going to want to choose is the designer one. But my designer paper is kind of thin, so I'm going to layer them together. So if your paper's thin, I would suggest that you cut 1 in the base, 1 set in the base, and 1 with the printed designer paper. So let's put it together. So the first thing that I did was you can go ahead and add the layers to all the pieces except the base, the bottom. So let's go ahead and glue these down. I hope that I am in frame. And like I said, I did glue most of them down because Really, you guys don't need to see me. We all know how to glue paper. And you don't want to go over your score line, so you can see the score line. What I use to center mine is this center up here, the oval cut out on the handle, and that kind of gives you a good placement for your paper. So there's one. And I didn't cut any for the inside of the tote. If you wanted to line your tote, I believe that these pieces will fit also on the inside, so just cut two of the designer or a contrasting color, or however you want to do it, but you can use those also to line the inside of your tote. Like, this is really simple and easy to put together. I love the way it comes together really easy. The only tricky part is the lock, is the pockets, the way they close. But I'm going to show you, once you do it once, you'll understand and you won't have any trouble with it. So here are all my pieces. They do have a score line, so let's go ahead and fold those. Let me get my bone folder. So we'll go ahead and burnish those. Like, it's real easy to put together, guys. And I'm going to do the same here, and it does have score lines. Now, the only thing that I did for my layering pieces, the layering file that I did has the stitching around it. For this one, I removed the stitching lines just so it will cut faster. But if you prefer the stitching lines, they are in there. If you know how to maneuver in the design, what is it called? Canvas workspace, whatever it's called, canvas. You can ungroup it and remove the stitching if you don't want it. But make sure that you don't change it in your original file. You want to open up a new file, then drag the file into the mat. That way your original always stays the same. So there's that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure everything is glued together on my layers. See, everything's glued already, or these are. These are not, so let's glue these. This is the back pocket. And if you have double-sided paper, it's really nice because all you have to do is flip your paper around and you have a different design for a different pocket or side or whatever. So I kind of like that. The paper I'm using did have it, so. And I'm using the center opening to line up. So there's that. And now let me do this piece. Maybe I should kind of not, no. Hopefully my hubby won't come in. He's outside mowing the lawn, but he doesn't know when I'm recording. So sometimes he'll come in and he'll be calling me to go look at something, or he's just a little loud and doesn't realize that sometimes I'm recording. So there's that one. And I believe these were already, yeah, I already covered these as well. The only ones that don't have the liners are the side pockets. If you decide not to do the pockets, then you'll have to cut this and add them here. There will be more of a perimeter border around it, but it's designed to have the pockets, so that's why the layering piece is for the actual size of the outside pockets. Okay, let's put this together. So I'm going to take the bottom piece, which is this one, and I'm not going to put the layering piece. I'm going to set that aside. That's going to be the last thing that I do. And we're going to glue these onto the sides. So I'm going to you can do you can do it two ways. You can do it like this with the tabs on the outside or on the inside. I'm going to do on the inside because I'm going to line my pockets on the outside of my my tote bag, because it's really easy to do it that way, and I don't want to have extra thickness around it, so I'm going to do it this way. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to take our piece, and you can see the score line right there. You're going to line up your tab, make sure you're straight and that you are not covering your score mark. The lighting is not very good in here, guys. And I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. So I'm going to flip this around, add the glue to the other side. Sometimes it's easier when I hold it up to myself, but I know you guys can't see that when I do that. So let's see. Let's do it this way. So I'm just going to hold it there and kind of line it up, because I can see my score mark right there. There and there. And just go ahead and burnish it with your tool. Turn it this way. Okay, like that's half the bag right there, guys. The front, the back, and the bottom. So now let's do the side panels. And those are the two pieces that do not have any layering pieces. They kind of look like pockets, but they're not. And these do have the score lines already in them. So just go ahead and fold that and burnish. Do the same with this one. Like, this is real simple to put together. When you do your pockets, you are going to have to take some scissors and snip the edges right here so they don't show. So you do want to snip your little corners here so they don't show, or else you're going to have, let me see if you can see that. See, when I fold it over, you can see that extra little tab there. You don't want to see that, so just kind of taper those a little bit. That's all you have to do. Now let's add these to there. And I like to do the bottom first, so I'm going to flip it around this way. Again, I'm going to put all my tabs on the inside of my tote so as not to create extra bulk when I add the pockets. So I'm just going to slide this in, line it up, and it looks pretty good. I'm going to hold it up closer to me to make sure. Yeah, that looks really good. And just burnish it with your tool, bone folder. I'm going to do the same thing to the other pocket. So I like to do the bottom flaps first, and then I'm going to do the sides. I really like this tote bag because it's little, but it can hold quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to set that down, and didn't want to do that. I have a clutter around my desk, guys, and what it does, it's why it pushes my my project over. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Right there. Like all around the perimeter of my table, there's stuff that I haven't put away. And one of the reasons too is that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm always working on several different projects at the same time. So these we're going to fold up and we're just going to attach them to the sides. As I was saying, I always have several projects going on at the same time. And that's why I always have all different papers and items up here, because I'm always working on different things. So I'm just going to fold this over, line it up to the edge. That looks pretty good. And I'm actually going to just put it down. I hope you can see that, and burnish. That way, see, it's, make sure it's lined up straight. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. It's not difficult at all to line up, guys. Actually, I didn't even have to trim those edges that I trimmed because those are not pockets. So you don't have to disregard that. You do not have to taper those edges in because they're not folded onto themselves like a pocket would be. They're actually on the side of your box, tote bag. So here is, I'm going to glue this last side. Again, just kind of, and I am using heavyweight cardstock. I think it's 110 pounds. I'm burnishing, making sure my edges are straight. And now the last one. Like I said, guys, this tote box and tote bag is so easy to put together, like seriously. Turn that in, and we're going to line it up and burnish. Like, that's almost your whole box right there. Now let's add the pockets to it, and you're going to see how easy it is to add pockets to it. Decide which one is your front, because sometimes I tend to not layer real well. So this is going to be my front. Always your prettiest side is your front. So this is the back. I'm going to go ahead and add the back pocket, which is the longer one with the bigger cutout. And I'm going to burnish the edges. On this one, you are going to have to taper the edges on the side because these are going to be folded onto themselves. So I'm just going to take this and just snip off that little corner right there. That way when I fold these in, you don't see that edge. See how you don't see it? That's what you want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this flap right here to the bottom of my box. And it's going to help me so my pocket will be really straight because it's anchored to the bottom of my tote. So that's how I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to add glue here. That was hubby, but I was able to get his attention before he started screaming my name. So I'm going to center this. See how I did? I added it to the bottom of the tote. And let me burnish. And we're going to, the same way that we're doing this pocket, we're going to do the side ones and we're going to do the front ones. Now, I'm going to pull this back and then I can flip these in. And what this does too, or for me, if I were to add a pocket and folded it in, sometimes it'll get caught up on that little lip. But because it's on the bottom, it's not going to get caught up or anything. So I just fold these down and then we're going to glue these down. But before we do that, we have to add the mechanism here to, oh, and I didn't look for that. What we're going to use to lock it, because this is going to have that sliding lock where you don't need Velcro, you don't need any magnets or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to take the bigger ones, the base and the designer paper, and I'm going to glue them together. So I'm going to glue these two together just for added strength. And what you're going to do, let me see if I can hurry up and find something to use as a closure You can use a flower, you can use a heart, you can use a bee charm, a sticker. You can use just about anything. But I didn't grab anything to keep it handy, but I think I have some stuff here I could use. Let me see. I have these bees, so I'm going to try using one of these bees. I think it needs to be bigger. No, this is not going to work. It's got to be bigger because this is the bigger opening. So I'm not going to use anything here yet because I don't know what I'm going to use. I don't think I have anything. But what you do is you put it across like this, like a T, and then horizontal. Is it? Yeah, horizontal. And then whatever you're going to use, let's say I was going to use anything, a sentiment, a heart, a butterfly, a larger bee, which I do have. I would add a couple of pieces of foam tape here, and then I would glue my piece that's going to be on the outside, my slider on the outside. So that's how you do that. So when you open this, it slides up and down. So that's how you would do that. I'm going to assemble this and as much as I can get, and then I'm going to take a little break and look for something that works here. So there is going to be a part 2 because I want to show you how to do the pockets. But for now, we're going to go ahead and glue on the rest of the pockets. And I'm not going to do the top closure yet. So here is I'm looking for the side pockets, which are the longer ones. You're going to have 2 of those. And I'm just going to do one with you here. And then I'm going to come back and do the others with you after I find the closures. These have score lines. This is an accordion style pocket. So this is going to have score lines, and you're just going to, so your first time you fold it, it's going to be towards the inside of the pocket, then the outside, then back on the inside, then back on the outside. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And this again is an accordion pocket. Now, I could cut this, but it's not really necessary. So I think I'm just going to leave it because it's going to have a flap. It's going to be closed. You're not really going to see it. But if you're more comfortable with cutting it out, you can do that too. But I think I'm going to leave it. If I decide to cut it, I'll do it afterwards. So again, I'm going to layer it on the outside of my box. Find the center. See, you can see where the center is real easy right here. And it's so easy to line up like this. So I'm going to add glue to that little bottom flap. And then I'm going to center my pocket. If it's easier to fold these in to do it, then do it that way. I need to slide over a tad bit. So there it is. There is my center of my pocket. And I'm going to burnish. I might need to add more glue. So I'm going to set this down so I can put some pressure. Nope, it moved. And I had to add a little bit more glue, guys. Looks like my glue dried up. Again, I'm going to line it up on the outside of my pocket, and then I'm just going to fold this flap down, and I am going to hold it for a minute to give it time to set a little bit. So what I'm using as a guide is the corner right here of my box. Oops. The corner of the box is I'm just butting the score line up with this one and holding it in place. That looks pretty good. I'm going to burnish a little bit, and this is not going to come undone, and I'm going to tell you why it's not going to come undone. The reason these pockets are not going to come undone from the bottom is because we're going to trap them in between this base layer and the top layer. When we add that top layer here, it's going to trap all those little tabs that we folded in, so it's not going to come undone. So I'm going to stop right here, guys. So if you're following along with me, do the same thing with the other side pocket, add it to the side. You're going to do the same thing with the front ones. I'll do one of the front ones with you so you can see, but we're not putting the closures on yet. So again, this is the same thing. It's got that bottom piece that we fold down, and then the accordion. So you're going to go in towards the pocket, then out, then back in. So we're going to do the same thing here on these. And we're going to line them up. Like I'm going to set that one there, and I'll do both of these with you as well, so you can see. Here's the other one. And what I like to do is I kind of just, before I commit, I'll put them down and see if how far away from the sides I want them to be, or how big the gap I want it to be. See, I want them to be like 1/4 of an inch in. If you can see that on right here on the side. So that's where I'm going to glue mine. So let me just add the glue. Wrong one. And then I'm going to take some time to see if I have any bigger bee embellishments that I can use as the sliding mechanism on the outside of my pockets. So there's that one. Remember, I want it to be 1/4 of an inch from this side. I don't have to worry about how high I want it, because I know that I want it glued to the bottom of my box. So I'm just going to butt the score line right up against, on top of the score line on the main bag. Hold it for a minute. I'm going to apply a little pressure, and I'm going to burnish it down just so it won't come undone. So there's pocket 1. So let's do pocket 2. Again, we're going to add to the bottom flap. That's where we're going to add the glue. We're going to make sure that we're about 1/4 of an inch away. If you want to be exact, you can give yourself a mark with a pencil or something that you can erase. For me, it doesn't have to be exact, so I'm good with this. I'm going to burnish the inside, make sure it doesn't come undone. And there you go. Here are the 2 front pockets. And we still have to add the flaps, but I'm gonna stop here. If you guys haven't added the other side pocket, go ahead and add the other side pocket. And that's it for all the pockets except the flaps. But I don't want to finish the flap until I put in the slider mechanism, so nothing is in the way. So make sure to come back for part 2. Thanks. Bye.